After a tepid start to the year, which names have the most to prove? It was a tepid start, but also they've been going nowhere, sideways since October. So the setup, arguably, is a pretty good one.
Yeah, I heard you and Mike talking about that. I think it is interesting. Today kind of felt like the day that MAGA fought back, and the prep into next week is I'd take Microsoft for 300. Melissa, off the board there, because I just think it's the one that has been the biggest disappointment to me, both on the charts, but really ultimately in terms of where I think expectations were. It was one of the big winners in the AI trade. It was one of the big winners, certainly in the margin accretion. Azure is a big part of this story. I think the numbers are going to be good. I think you're well protected on the downside. Copilot, I think there's some dynamics there that are very mixed, frankly. But I think the valuation is back to a place where people can own it. I don't think this thing's going to get away from you. I really don't. I think, and if I look at, again, just the charts and allocations, and there does seem to be a lot of heaviness into Mag 7 stocks. If you want to, be a technical person who sees that you have a 50 crossing over a 200, otherwise known as a bear cross, a death cross, whatever you want. The price action today was good, but it hasn't been good. I think this is the most defensive, though, of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, it has, even on the day where we bounced, the Greenland sort of, tumble, and then we bounced back higher. Microsoft didn't follow along there. Yeah. So the price action was really terrible, even just this week.
Well, I think if you look at the outperformance of the Russell is talking to the perceived overvaluation of the Mag 7 names. So Microsoft is probably expensive to itself and to the market. Having said that, people like buying what they know. So I heard you ask the question of Katie, the technician, Katie Stockton, earlier. Is it a zero-sum game? Does what caused the Russell to outperform, if that reverses, does it reverse for the Russell? I think it sort of does, right? Because if you saw the Russell run out of gas, and you saw the Mag 7 gain. So I do think that people are going to take a look. Russell valuation trades at around 15 times. Mag 7 trades at around 30 times, 35 times. I think they're going to take a look and maybe go with the Russell.
Oh, interesting. Yourself, would you rather on the topic?
I didn't realize
I think I heard two
We're
in
talking
there.
about Mag 7.
Yeah.
But, we'll stick with Microsoft at least, though. We have seen, this crush in IGV, Bonawyn, and you can argue that Microsoft should trade at a premium to the overall group. I think that's a fair argument to make. But with the crush overall of valuations in IGV, how much will that pull Microsoft down no matter what?
Well, I think it trades around 26, 27 times forward. So I would argue that there isn't a ton of crush. Like, there is some premium that is built in and will be sustained within Microsoft. So it's not like this thing trades 34, 35 times forward. That would give me a lot more pause and concern. Listen, this thing still has a significant flywheel. Now, I understand the AI CapEx is going to come under scrutiny, and clearly I think the top front and center thing is going to be Azure growth. You don't want to see that start to decelerate. When we've seen pullbacks previously, it's been because of that, and the fact that we still haven't seen AI monetization within enterprise the same way we have seen within the retail user. So I actually think there's a lot to like going into it. I own it into the print. I would likely be adding into earnings. Like you said earlier in the show, I think the bar is set relatively low, and I'd be much more concerned if I had seen this stock run up 15, 20% into earnings. I do think the bar is high. Clearly, the market wants to see follow-through from AI, but I think a lot of that tailwind has somewhat been taken out in the recent 3 to 6 months.
Which stock are you most concerned about, Mike? It seems like there's a great concern surrounding Meta going into earnings specifically. The quarter should be good, but what will they say about their spend? That seems to be still, the bear case here.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because if you take a look at the options market of all 4 of these stocks, that's the one where the options market seems to be least certain and is expecting the biggest moves, more than 6%. In Meta. But if you just take a look at the sentiment, so when we're talking about sentiment in the options market, we're talking about call buyers versus call sellers, put buyers versus put sellers. It's actually Apple and Tesla that seems to have the most dubious interpretation of what's going to be happening next week on earnings. Microsoft's flow, on balance, was actually bullish today. And, kind of to Bonawyn's point, I mean, it does trade at a premium to the market. It deserves to, by the way. I mean, it is growing on the top line, the bottom line, and free cash flow growth, all exceeding that of the S&P overall. So, and also the options markets are not really that expensive going into Microsoft's print either. So I think call buyers are probably, in the right spot.